everyone.
All right, assalamu alaikum. PopKeys coming at you tonight. I know y'all had your turkey last week, so this is a good subject tonight. I'm bringing in Dr. Linus Igbokwe. He's in the sports medicine. He's board certified sports physician at EM Orthopedic Sports Medicine Institute, where he provides comprehensive non-surgical care for athletes, active individuals. Their clinical work spans injury prevention, regenerative therapy, and performance organization with a focus on evidence-based, minimally invasive approach. In addition to his medical practice, Dr. Igbokwe is the founder and CEO of New Order Health, the South's first medically supervised fasting service, offering personalized fasting protocols rooted in natural, holistic therapies and supported by modern medical oversight. Through Natural Order Health, he blends ancient healing principles with contemporary sports medicine to help individuals achieve metabolic health, resilience, and longevity. Dr. Igbokwe's mission is to redefine how people approach healing by restoring the body's natural capacity to recover and optimal function. This is very, very important. And the key word is your natural ability to heal. With all the reports that we're getting in the misuse, the mistreatment, the malpractice in the hospitals of America for people that look like us, this is very important. You know, I get reports of so many people dying unnecessarily, and I know they're dying unnecessarily because people going to the hospital, nobody's getting cured. Everybody dying. They got them on pill. They're getting radiation treatment. We have a lot of obesity in our culture. We have a lot of diabetes. We got a lot of cancer. We've been fed, can't say food because it's not food. Bioengineered, genetically modified foods. You're not even getting real food today. People passing at an early age. People got high blood pressure and no blood pressure. Having strokes and heart attacks. Aging fast. Having mental issues. And it should be a crime for us to be fed by these corporations non-food items, but they've been certified by the Food and Drug Administration as food. Never in the history of man have we been eating artificial food. You can go into the grocery store, the price is going up. You get a chicken, you're getting a bioengineered chicken. Fish, same way. Your vegetables, saying the brother took a whole cabbage and set it over on the stove, on the burners. The damn thing didn't even burn, so he broke off a leaf and put it on the stove. Didn't even burn. You can't say it's plastic. Plastic will melt. I don't know what it is. But we getting sick left and right. We dying too early. According to the teachers, the most unhumble Elijah Muhammad, but the people have become so passive that they don't even make an uproar about how we being treated in America and the unnatural food that we've been given. I think they done put something in them vaccines that most of y'all took to make you passive. Children coming down with autism left and right after all these vaccinations that they're supposed to be giving them when they're born. We have, and sisters, I'm just, I come with love now. And when I look around, I sit back and I observe our people, men and the women. Well, sometimes I can go 8 out of 10. Most of our women are overweight and obese. You can't live a long, healthy life like that. And that's lack of self-discipline and eating all this unnatural foods. We don't know how to heal ourselves. The body has a natural way of healing itself. And I was just telling the doctor tonight, and I had messed up my arm because I slipped and I fell. And the kid said, well, why don't you go to the doctor? I make it one of these days. But, but I'm healing myself. I developed an exercise for my shoulder and things of that nature. It's been about 4 months. But that other boy coming back now, I can get them combinations going again. You understand? Because I didn't like being one arm. You dig? So I can defend myself if necessary. Otherwise, I'd had to go another route on you. You dig? But you have the natural ability to heal. Even when I bathe in the morning, I lay back in my tub and then I just I take my mind and touch my whole body and tell it to heal, take all the toxins out. The parasites, you do it with your mind. You can do a self-healing, but you have to have the right diet. You have to eat the right foods. You have to know how to put your mind on your body. But the food is key. Elijah Muhammad says that what put fear in us and gave us mental issues was the food that they served us as slaves. Now, we're not slaves anymore. I think the slaves were doing better than we doing today. Or at least they were getting some type of food. But this artificial food that we getting, that's killing us wholesale, brothers and sisters. We don't have anything that we can call our own. We're not producing our food. And those that's producing food, the brothers can't get it off the farm to the market. So I said to myself, well, this summer coming up, I'm going to grow most of my own vegetables. Because you don't know what you're getting in the stores. Even they say Aldi's. I used to go to Aldi, but they said most of that, you read the package, is bioengineered now. You go to Whole Foods, that's GM, a lot of that's GM, talking about organic. Unless you're cutting it off your own damn tree, you're pulling out your own garden. There's no telling what you get. That's why we all messed up in the mind. That's why our youngins are messed up in the mind. Out here tripping. Most of you don't, you have your baby, you give them that cow milk, goat milk, whatever type of milk, because you don't breastfeed them. All my children are best breastfed. It makes a big difference. And then I like to say also is that this is Ramadan. For the followers of Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad, he set up Ramadan for us. A lot of the Muslims in the nation, they follow the Ramadan by the Orthodox Muslims. But I always preferred the month of December because it had more meaning to me, first and foremost. And then a lot of the Orthodox Muslims, I don't really I don't really rock with them like that. Now, I got a lot of brothers like out affiliated Sunni Muslims. You got some other Muslims that I know that's Orthodox. Now they good. Even if we had a good brothership, fellowship with some of the Iranian Muslims in the Bay Area, Brother Mansour and all, we use their mouths to have Sabre Day programs, stuff like that. But I never could see myself in their Islam. And I'm reading Honorable Elijah Muhammad giving these instructions to the Muslims in the nation. He said, why and how we fast in December, that I'm going to bring in the doubt. I have chosen for quite a few years the month of December for my followers to fast as in the month of Ramadan. It serves as a sign that we, the lost and found nation, are the end of all signs pertaining to the pilgrimage and fasting in the month of Ramadan. We fast the 12th month of the Christian year to relieve ourselves of having once worshipped that month as the month of which Jesus was born. Listen, it is now known and agreed upon by the scholars and scientists of religion that nothing of the kind took place 2,000 years ago. Jesus was born not in the month of December, but rather as God, he revealed it, and according to the season that history claims existed in that time, the first or second week in September, on the 9th month. The Christians have made holidays with a huge motive for commercialization. Have they not? Because they're the baby holiday they got. You got to go in your pocket to celebrate. They buy wine, whiskey, and beer, and fatten up pigs and hogs for to kill and roast this divinely prohibited flesh to celebrate the Christians called the birthday of the Son of Man. Jesus condemned such things as drunkenness and the eating of swine flesh. And I always wonder, when they say in the Bible don't eat the hog, why y'all got 12 pork chops and 13 hams in the oven with your black-eyed peas? Why don't you follow that instruction? Say, you Christians, one thing about the Muslims, we don't eat the hog. I don't even eat beef. If you see me eating some beef, I'm getting ready to go kill something. Because I know that beef, it makes you quick to anger, and I found that out at a young age. Because my temper would always go up when I ate them burgers. I said, damn, that ain't eating none of me. Quick to come to anger. And I just studied what I was eating, and I found out it was the beef. But listen, the act that they carry on for the celebration of Jesus' birth is perfect for Nimrod, who actually was born on the 25th of December. This is who you celebrate. According to the science and historian, as well as the words of God himself spoken to me. This Honorable Elijah Muhammad talking. Nimrod was an enemy of God and one who came in the last 300 years or 2,000 years of Moses, or Musa. He led the white man against the laws of Moses and the worship of Allah, of God. Nimrod wanted them to worship idols and that which was other than God, as they did in ancient Rome. Let us, my fathers, remember the right way. Waste not your earnings in such ways as worshiping and feasting as the Christians do. Got to break it down to you. They only say and do not. They only say and do not. They have taken for themselves the prophets of God and the place of God. And this month of fasting, we shall keep our minds and hearts clean. This is for the Muslims. We shall not indulge in the eating of meat, land meats. Now, you may eat fish and such fat products which come from land animals such as butter and cheese. In this month, you should keep your minds on Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, my God and your God and my Savior and Deliverer, and your Savior and Deliverer, to whom be praised forever for giving us life after our mental death, for the past 400 years. We've been dead for 400 years, black folks. During this month, eat before day and after the sun goes down if you wish, but not during the daylight hours. This will also go for drinking. Drink whatever you are going to drink, either before dawn or after dark. The eating before dawn is for those of us who love to eat breakfast in the mornings. But if you eat one meal a day, you may eat that meal either before dawn or after dark. It is better for your health, however, to eat one meal after dark. Listen, keep up prayer, and let us all be grateful to Allah for his coming in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. Throughout the month of December and every month, and during this month, let there be no quarreling or disputing in our homes or abroad. Now, I've seen Muslims in the Orthodox family. They would travel back east, and I seen them come back. They done lost weight and everything. But the only problem I had was they came back to the liquor store. Well, they were selling us liquor, pork, and all type of pork rinds and bad food. And I said, damn. Now you go way back home, practice Ramadan, but you come back and practice Haram. Selling us the liquor that the Quran states that we shouldn't use or you shouldn't sell. So I seen the hypocrisy in that. And they had the nerve to talk about, we're not real Muslims. Father Honorable Elijah Muhammad, some of the best Muslims on the planet. And you could tell because when you see a Muslim with Father Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that might look different. Got that shine on them. Their speech is different. They talking proper English. Kind and humble people. Not aggressive. Bear witness to no God but Allah. It came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And that's where a lot of you all have problems with. That you can't believe God came in the person. I don't know how y'all can put that on God that God can't come in the person. But he can be a spook somewhere you can't see him. Some type of stuff like that. You know. So I want to set this up. That's why I practice how to eat to live. Wholeheartedly. He has certain foods in here that we shouldn't eat. I'll cover that at another time. Eat that one meal a day or even eat every other day. You eat every 2 days or either every 3 days. The Muslims in the nation fast at least 3 days out the month to run all that poison back out the system to clean the blood back up. Or you can practice for 7 days if you can get there. But if you get to 3, you can tell the difference of the clarity in your mind. Your thoughts speed up, start moving at 24 billion miles per second. Your speech, you start speaking more rapidly. Your thoughts are more cleaner, more pure. So it's very important to fast. And that way, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say, if you eat every 3 days or every 7 days, you'll never be sick. Most people sick every other damn day. You got headaches, backaches, all type of problems because the food, you eat too damn much 5 times a day. The stomach don't have a chance to rest. You study got it working. You got study got it running. You study putting poison on top of poison. You got a doctor appointment every other month. And all they're doing is giving you a pill. So I'm going to bring in the good doctor. He's a good brother. I met him at the Invest Fest. 1 year, been knowing about going on 2-3 years now. He's been very helpful to my grandbaby, my aunt. She goes to University of Alabama, Birmingham. You have to get acquainted and get set up with some of her classes and stuff like that. She's doing excellent. 4.0 student. You understand? I call it Dr. Mott already because that's what I wanted to be. So we can eventually one day we get the funding and stuff, we set up our own hospitals, our own clinics and stuff like that and get proper treatment for our people instead of getting murdered in the hospitals of America. So Dr. Linus Igbokwe, you want to come on in and introduce yourself, brother, and break down your understanding on fasting and how you want to set up your clinics and things of that nature. Because you gave me a clear understanding when I thought it was a brilliant idea where you said you set up overnight stays
That's right.
in Airbnb. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, thank you for the introduction, PopKeys. For the audience that's tuning in, my name is Dr. Linus Igbokwe. I'm a board certified family and sports medicine physician. My day job, I work in an orthopedic clinic, and I'm the non-surgical personnel managing all injuries with minimally invasive techniques using regenerative therapies like stem cells, BMAC, PRP. My passion is helping people realize that the healing is within themselves. And I want to start off with a quote. A healer does not heal you. A healer holds space for you while you awaken the healer within yourself so that you are able to hear yourself. And PopKeys, there were so many different gems you dropped in your monologue just now. One thing I want to piggyback off was the modern food environment. I got a mentor that says we live in an environment where drugs masquerade as food, right? And what this does is it very subtly hijacks our nervous system and induces us into a state of somewhat of an addiction, right? I term it the pleasure trap. And the pleasure trap is three things, right? The pleasure trap is conserving energy, seeking pleasure, and avoiding pain, right? And if you look at this modern food environment, we conserve a lot of energy getting energy, right? I can pick up my phone, order Uber, eat, whatever, right? Conserve energy. The food is pleasureful. And I avoid any type of danger by having it delivered to my house, right? It's the perfect storm for what we're realizing right now in the medical field, which is why there's such an appetite for weight loss drugs and get fix quick schemes, right? Because there's no way to circumvent Mother Nature. That's one thing my medical studies have shown me is that, all these treatment algorithms, procedures, they're bandages. And I'm the founder and CEO of Natural Order Health. It's the South's first medically supervised fasting facility. And basically, what I want you to conceptualize is imagine a hospital where people come off medications. That's my goal. And right now, we're in the early startup phase where we're looking for different hospitality industries to partner with us to create this space and hold this space for people who want to tap into this method of healthy, because human beings, we're supposed to, we've developed these vessels over millions of years, and we wouldn't survive here if we didn't have the mechanisms to go without food for prolonged periods, right? That was a key feature in our development that led to our survival to this day, right? But now fast forward to 2025, where food is plentiful all the time, and our physiology is literally not set up to be fed 24/7, right? So if we go through an average American's day, they're breakfast at 8, lunch at 12, dinner at 6 or 7, right? That is what, 4 hours between breakfast and lunch, and maybe 6-7 hours between lunch and dinner, and then you sleep for 8 hours. Now, if you really understand energy systems in the body and what molecules and the metabolic pathways in the body, there's something called the post-fed state, really from the moment you finish eating to 4 hours after you've eaten is called the postprandial state. That's when glucose is the primary fuel source for the body, right? And then after about 4 to 12 hours, you shift from the fed state to the absorptive state. That's where you're absorbing the nutrients. That's where you're assimilating those molecules and energy into your body. That happens from hour 4 to 12. But we live in an environment where it's the norm to eat every 4 hours, every 4 to 6 hours, right? So now you see a situation where we're cycling through the fed state and the absorptive state forever, right? We never encourage the body to go into the fasted state. That's where the quote unquote magic happens, in my opinion, right? Because there's two metabolic states. There's the metabolic state dependent on sugar, and then there's the metabolic state dependent on ketones, right? And that's where fasting, that's where you start utilizing fat metabolism for energy. And that's where, for lack of a better phrase, that's where the magic happens, right? And it doesn't take that long to tap into the body's healing. It takes probably 2 to 3, not probably, it takes 2 to 3 days. That's what the science says. And PopKeys, you mentioned that by day 2, 3, you start getting the mental clarity, the focus, you speaking fast. You spot on, right? Because you're only using glucose for like the first 8 hours, then you transition to glycogen metabolism. And then by day 3, you're primarily dependent on ketone bodies for energy. And that's when you start stimulating your stem cells. That's when you switch to autophagy, all these different cellular repair mechanisms, right? Now, 3 days is not that much time, in my opinion, but in a typical busy, adult lifestyle, you're inundated with stress and decision making, and a lot of times we eat for pleasure and to get to the next task, right? And is not a healthful behavior. And on top of that, we're not eating the best food, right? So my proposition is to create a negating vacuum where you're isolated from the outside world, and every amount of energy is focused on healing, right? And it does two things. It severs you from the hustle and bustle of everyday life and disconnects you from what distracts you, right? And the second thing it does is it helps calm the nervous system down, right? Because if you understand the nervous system, it directs everything, right? It really regulates every other system in the body. And going back to what's going on with the modern food environment, it's mainly how I look at it, is my personal opinion. It's an addiction-based model that we're looking at, right? Because how do we live in one of the most technologically advanced societies, but our level of sickness in this country that is highest is one of the global leaders in disease and chronic conditions, and that's a huge disconnect, right? So by natural order health, we have the protocols and the treatment algorithms to help you get off the medication and upload the right way to live and eat.
So,
You can't hear.
Dad, can you say something? Sound went down or something.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So in short, Natural Order Health is a hospital where people come off medication. And nowadays, people's physiology are so dependent on blood pressure medications, cholesterol medications, pain medications, right? And what that does is it creates a chemical dependence and a crutch on a particular physiologic state. And the reason why I'm so passionate about fasting is because we're subtracting things to solve a problem. Modern medicine, we see a problem, well, let's add something to figure it out. Let's keep adding, and figure out what works, right? But this approach, it actually subtracts and sees what's getting better. Modern medicine, in my opinion, is more masculine. Let's get this outcome with this drug and measure it. Where I like fasting, where it's more feminine and passive, but it gets the same thing done in different ways, in a higher way at that. And you have nothing to lose. Your health is literally your greatest asset. And in medical training, I'll never forget this patient encounter. This is probably like my second or third year in residency. And we were rounding on a patient that just got done with open heart surgery for a triple bypass. This man was like in his 40s and had a massive heart attack, needed bypass surgery essentially, right? So we're rounding on this man in the ICU, and the first meal they gave this man out of surgery, and I kid you not, was a burger and fries.
Oh man, they trying to kill it.
When I was rounding, and I'm reading the room, right? I'm reading the room, and I'm like the only person wide-eyed, but like this man just had a life-saving surgery. And here the hospital is giving him the same food that got him in the hospital bed to begin with. Right. And that just shows you how intertwined the problem is with the healthcare system. And I'm not here to demonize medicine. I'm not here to whistleblow. I'm here to preach an alternative approach. I'm here to advocate an integrated approach where we monitor people coming off medications, right? Focus on breathing technique, focus on meditation. There's interesting data coming out on light therapy, sound therapy, using these energy modalities to heal and regulate the nervous system. Because it all boils down to your nervous system, right? Hunger is a nervous system drive, okay? If you can control your mind, like you said, Mr. PopKeys, the universe is yours. The universe is mental. Everything begins and ends in the mind of the all, right? So at Natural Order Health, we teach you how to eat, teach you how to meditate, how to breathe. We advocate for African Kemetic yoga to regulate the nervous system. And the most beautiful thing about this approach is in the community setting, right? Because it's hard to do this in isolation. That's why developing a community like PopKeys and getting like-minded people together is the most powerful way for this method of healing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sometimes it go in and out a little bit. Don't last long though.
Okay. You mentioned InvestFest, and this past InvestFest, there was a booth for, subscribe to this app for weight loss drugs, right? And there was a physician there and a pharmacist there, and there was a brother who was asking some really good questions about side effects and risk of taking some of these weight loss drugs. And the response from the pharmacist really took me off guard. And her response to his inquiry about the safety and efficacy of the drug was, "Oh, in my experience, I haven't seen any of that reported in the news." And my rebuttal was, just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it's not out there, right? And we get into this somewhat heated debate about the state of modern medicine. And because it's become like a commodity service, in my opinion, right? A patient got a list of problems, they're expecting something, right? As opposed to promoting health. And the debate basically, boiled down to the other physician who was present. Her literal statement was, "Well, if you want to get healthy, you just got to leave America," is what she told me. And, that answer just didn't suffice for me. It just shows you how uninterested medicine is at getting at the root cause. And again, Western medicine is really good at acute problems, but for chronic issues, it's suffering. And our people are suffering the most from it.
Cattle went out again. I guess it popped back in, brother.
Can you hear me?
Now it popped back in every time I say something.
Okay. Well, just to give you a little background about how I got into fasting. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, this was probably back in like 2019. I was about to graduate medical school and I didn't want to buy a whole bunch of groceries that would go to waste potentially, right? So I was thinking, hey, what if I just stay hydrated and buy 7 gallons of water and see what happens, right? So the first couple of days were kind of rough, right? Um, Felt very fatigued. Um, Obviously, the pressure to eat was present, but I endured. I stayed hydrated. Anytime like a hunger pain came, I drank water. But by the second and third day, PopKeys,
Yes, sir.
happened. Something really interesting happened. I started needing less sleep. I had more energy, and my mental clarity was off the charts. Right. And this was a 7-day fast. I've done multiple 7-day fasts, but this one was it's so fresh in my mind because here I am about to cross the stage, getting my medical degree, but the most miraculous personal health experience I've had, I didn't cover it in a course, didn't get a lecture on it, nothing, right? And I thought that was really interesting.
Yes, sir.
I spent the past, 8 to 10 years getting to this position, and I had learned a word, didn't get a lecture about the most amazing health revolution personally that I had, and it didn't involve seeing a doctor, right? I tapped into my own healing potential. And another interesting thing that I've noticed in the population is this, right? When people are sick, they go to the doctor, right? When people are healthy and they're trying to get healthier, they don't go see the doctor a lot of times. They go see, I don't know, they start taking a whole bunch of supplements and seeing all these other, allied healthcare professionals, which is really interesting because here we are seeking health in all these different ways. But again, if you just turn inward, the healer is right inside of you, right? It goes back
That's
to
right.
the original statement is that, the healer doesn't heal you, right? Even as a physician, right? I'm very proud of my profession. I treat it very seriously, but at the end of the day, I'm in the car with you, guiding you to the right pathway to health, right? I'm not healing you, right? And for fasting, I don't know one behavior that affects people's mental health, physical health, and spiritual health. There's no procedure, there's no pill. It is a practice that can transform your life and the life of others around you. And there's a reason why fasting is incorporated in multiple different spiritual traditions, right?
That's right.
Christianity, being Muslim, Judaism, Hinduism, all of them incorporate fasting because of its spiritual potential, right? And I study spiritual texts, the Bible and the gospel, right? Jesus's most famous sermon was the Sermon on the Mount. But what did Jesus do before giving that sermon? He fasted 40 days and 40 nights.
That's right, brother.
And at the end of the fast, what happened? The devil approached him and tempted Jesus with control over the whole world. And he denied it. Now, fast forward to the day, and I love that story because the devil is present in, that message in the Bible is the most extreme, right? But if I go to the other end of the spectrum, the quote unquote devil is every decision we make for health. Are we going closer to health or are we going away from health, right? Now, if Jesus could resist the temptation from the devil for power over the whole world, what's so hard about making the right decision about your health? Not only did Jesus give that powerful sermon, after that, that's when he goes on his grand tour, healing people, going around preaching And that's when he started catching the attention of the authorities, right? Because he was transforming his community. And that's when, his unfaithful demise happened, is when he started tapping in and helping healing other people, or helping hold space to help people heal themselves. That's when the authorities got concerned, right? And I'm not comparing myself to Jesus at all. I'm just highlighting the example of, when you help people help themselves, that's when the revolution starts. And I'm starting a healthcare revolution. I'm starting a fasting hospital where people come off medications. If you have chronic diseases, arthritis, hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, whatever you have, the body's ability to heal it is unmet. And the one thing you have to do is fast and live a healthful lifestyle, eat the right food, whole food, plant-based medicine. All right. Very little to no animal products. Okay.
Okay, it went out again. You hear me, brother?
I can hear you.
All right. Yeah. But Doc, you're a rarity in this day and age, because you're not pushing modern medicine as the cure all, the be all. And I think for our people, it's so critical for us to learn how to fast, learn how to incorporate herbal, holistic medicines into our lifestyle. Um, because it's just like every so often I clean my blood. I take the dandelion. A lot of people use the burdock, but I like the dandelion. Like buy 100 caps, and I start out 4-4-4 about 3 times a day for the first couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
Then I cut it back to 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I take it throughout the month until they all gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then you drink plenty of water, because when the toxins start moving through your body, they circulate through the head. It might make you a little lightheaded.
Yep.
That lets you know them toxins are moving. So you just urinate, you pull it right on out. But you can tell the difference, because your skin will start looking better. You just start thinking, your clarity will come a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of times what I also do, I just buy that small navy bean. I might eat that for 3-4 days straight.
Mm-hmm.
Because I realized Muhammad said we ain't got to eat a lot of different food every day. You understand? And that's specifically that was designed for it, is high in protein.
Yep.
You understand? And it's also a shield for the different type of radiation that we have in front of a TV, a phone, and all these type of things.
Mm-hmm.
And you just feel better, brother. You regulate better.
Yep.
Your thoughts come much clearer. You don't have a bunch of negative thoughts coming into your mind.
Yep.
If they do, you know how to throw them out.
Yep.
You eat more vegetables, you eat a lot of fruit, because I put a lot of type of vegetables in my bean soup, and I just put them in that crock pot, brother.
Mm-hmm.
And let them boys cook. Once in a while, I let them cook overnight, man, and I'm good to go. Might make me some cream of wheat bread or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I might eat a little chicken every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe once or twice a month or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then that way you can run it right back out your system and
Right.
things of that nature. But you can't load your body up on a bunch of poison in this day and time.
Exactly.
And like you say, rheumatism is a big problem in our community as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes discipline to fast, though. You got to develop discipline, because your health is your wealth. If you don't have, you can be the richest man on the planet, but if you sick, it don't mean nothing. You understand? That is your wealth, and you should pay attention to your body.
It's your greatest asset.
That's right. Your body talks to you if you listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
If something get out of order with the system and my system, and I just go back and say, damn, what did I eat today? I track it down based on the food that I eat, because you get a certain reaction on the food that you eat sometimes. You understand?
You're right.
So we got to start putting that love back into ourselves and move away from all this meat, though, brothers and sisters, because it's killing us wholesale. And some people got to have it. Well, you headed close to the grave. To be honest about it, let me just read a little bit of something what the messenger say. It said, under the system of this world, the baby is born wrestling with life and death wins this struggle and throws the majority of us into our eternal grave before we reach the age of 50. And the remainder before we reach the age of 100 years. You get 50 60 years old, y'all think y'all done live. I see people look like they're 125 at 60 and at 50. I said, damn, especially white folks, though. Damn, brother, how old are you? I don't want to bash you nothing, but damn, brother, you look like you're down there 85. He said, why is that span of life so short? Because we try to follow and practice the way of the wicked, whose span of life was limited at the beginning of that time but 6,000 years ago. That's why we call them a race. And due to their lack of essence of righteousness and external life, they cared not for a long span of life. Listen, they decide to shorten the span of life for the aboriginal people who have no beginning or ending. We have done just that, and have done just that because we have not lived the way of their life. What we were and what we are given to eat and drink has shortened our life, brothers and sisters. The way we live, that short time of life from 12 to 30 years. People dying early now. Every time I look around, somebody in their 30s done died, maybe 40, or even younger, just dying and having heart attacks and stuff. It's because a fleeting moment of time we should live. The earth is old earth, and the life that is in it, it is our life also. It produces us and it takes us back. It's dead material to fertilize the life germ that is yet to be made into man. We should live far lower than we have, as long as we see where we came from and that the material that made up our bodies is still alive. But what has happened to us? We were fed with death at the very beginning. Listen, the wrong food and drink given to us when we were babies by a wicked enemy. Until today, we think that it is a mistake to contemplate living 100 or more years and not think of 1,000 years. We think that is impossible. Listen, brothers and sisters. But it's more impossible for us today to live 800 or 300 years than it was Methuselah, who lived 969 years. Each year came 12 months like the one we have today. The Holy Quran teaches that a year with Allah has always been 12 months. And the civilization of Earth must count their years according to the time it takes the Earth to rotate around the sun and get itself into position. That the astronomer teaches us will give us a more correct way of counting the time. We and our sons and daughters are fed on poisonous food, milk, and water. That's right, we left out the water. The water ain't no good. I don't even drink tap water, I bathe in it from the start of life. This way of eating like the beast soon robs us of life, and we go away within a few years. The baby eats poisonous animals, fowls, and vegetables, and drink milk that is not his milk. It belongs to the cow's baby, goats, baby, and horses, baby. Here the child is reared on animal and cattle food. This is why we have such a great percentage of delinquency. Listen, black people. This is why we have such a great percentage of delinquency among minors. The child is not fed from his mother's breast. She is too proud of her form. Therefore, she lets the cow or other animals nurse her newborn baby. And the baby cannot have too much love from his mother. That's why the black woman is so important and so powerful. It loves the bottle that is food in it. food that his mother robbed from the cow baby to feed her own baby. Almost finished with it. When the baby reaches the age of 10, if it is a male, most of them begin to indulge in what? Drinking alcohol beverages and using tobacco in one form or another. That's why you see the brothers on the Black and Miles, on that lean, drinking that Hennessy, that Cavassier, whatever else they be drinking. You understand? Lips all back, all black, and then they smoking marijuana left and right. You understand? This modified marijuana. Alcohol and tobacco with a poison effect upon the male cuts his life down as far as his reproductive organs are concerned. A lot of sisters getting married to the brother, find out he coming up short now. Got too much poison in him. You understand? Because sometimes they be hitting up by ear, trying to ask her what type of herbs she might have to help their old man. And this is a young brother. You understand? You done lost all your juice. You understand? You got your poor wife calling for some help. He is unable to produce his own kind. And nowadays, with dope added to all of the above mentioned poisonous foods and drinks, we can easily say with truth that the people are committing suicide. In a few days, years, they lose sexual desires. Tobacco and whiskey will most certainly destroy it. The flesh of swine and alcohol drinks will give a false impression of feeling to the victim that you are strong and able to finish the course. But you can't depend on it. Soon, one finds himself needing strength again and again. That's why they got all these other pills out now. And I see young brothers, man, they giving them what's that, the Viagra and the Seattle, they call it something. They got what they call it. That's what Shannon Sharp was using when they had that white girl.
I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, it's probably Cialis,
yeah,
tadalafil.
they advertise this. And I
Yeah,
see the young brothers bearing witness to it, but I'm saying, damn, brother, what you need all that for? You a young man. Hell, that's something I need to be looking for. Hell, I'm 73, but you ain't in your damn 20s, brother. That fell off already. You understand? What the hell going on in America, brother?
serious.
That's terrible, man. Come on, let me finish this up. Not to think of how venereal diseases destroy those who indulge in the stream of life. Let us eat to live as a lot of God has taught us. You understand? But that's what I wanted to ask you, though. You need Airbnbs on that setup.
Mm-hmm.
How can that be utilized more? Because I know instead of setting up a clinic, this Airbnb is more cost effective.
Exactly.
You understand the way we can set these up throughout our community.
Exactly.
And I
Well,
want you to expound on that a little bit more.
yeah. So that was my initial business model, was using Airbnbs and hospitality industry facilities as a tactic to minimize overhead with this approach, because this is a big idea. So I needed a step to that big idea, and that was my proposal. Now I've come in to hit some, I don't want to say red flags or barriers, but some obstacles, because what I'm doing is relatively risky from a Airbnb standpoint. Medically, it's not risky, right? But Airbnb sees it as a risk because they're not zoned or licensed for healthcare services being delivered under their reservations and whatnot, right? So I'm still figuring out what business model, what approach I need to take in order to get to that facility where people can come to, let's say just like a apartment complex essentially, and stay there extended time, right? So I'm still working some other avenues right now, some intermediate steps before that big play on a facility.
Well, can't you just set it up like a holistic retreat
I could.
up under that type of
I certainly could. But see, the thing with the retreats, people need long time, resets. longer than a 7-day or a 10-day. Some people might need 20, right? I'm not saying that's what everybody needs. But, this negating vacuum, this concept of I come to this facility and the outside world is, I don't want to say cut off, but it's filtered through this facility, especially in terms of food and access to entertainment, right? Because we don't just consume with our mouth, we consume with our eyes, we consume with our ears, because it's all, again, it's all a nervous system conditioning. Even taste, our taste buds have been reconditioned for a particular type of food, right? Going back to the whole addiction model and our ancient, physiology is being hijacked by a modern a modern food environment is hijacking our nervous system, right?
Yes.
That's the crux of it, because it's an addiction model is what I'm getting at, right? We've become addicted to highly processed foods, and we've lost interest in anything natural, right?
That's true.
We're at a war with Mother Nature, and it's a losing battle because Mother Nature is going to win every time, right? But going back to the rollout of my business is I'm working with some program developers on ways to execute these intermediate steps to get to that big goal, right? And hopefully I'm invited back to give you some updates on the progress I'm making.
Yes, sir, you will.
Because I'm very passionate about this, and I know this can transform the community. The Renaissance, that's what your son was promoting. And my mission in the Renaissance is to lead this healthcare renaissance for our community.
Yes.
And one more thing you mentioned in that excerpt you were reading, something that I noticed towards the end of my residency training was people are getting sicker younger. Let me give you an example. So we're seeing this brother in the hospital. He's like in his 30s, right? PopKeys. This brother's on dialysis at 30.
Damn, dialysis at 30.
How limited a physician is with this toolbox of drugs with a young man on dialysis in his 30s. You are very limited in medical management for this particular individual, right?
That is crazy.
And the leading cause is high blood pressure, diabetes, right? That's the gateway to a lot of these end-stage organ damage, because when you understand human physiology, it goes back to energy flow and energy availability, right? Because when you have too much energy, your body stores it, but it can only store so much energy, right? That's why you have fat tissue. And all fat is not bad fat. There's actually good fat, right? But the bad fat, the visceral fat, that's what's clogging arteries. That's what's, making people insulin resistant. This is the bad fat, right? This is the fat that really puts pressure on your heart. This is the fat that you don't need. And it's this fat that is easily corrected with fasting and understand how to eat to live. In that natural order health, we have protocols and programs to get you off medication and you won't be hungry, right? Because there's a motto I go by: you cleanse and feed the cells and you empty the gut. We treat our gut like a garbage can now.
That's right.
Right. And it's like a pleasure garbage can, holiday is a good example, right? We've been conditioned to think, oh, Thanksgiving turkey, Thanksgiving mac and cheese, Thanksgiving, right? But at the end of the day, how many Thanksgivings does it take to realize, like, I got the itis, right? And it's become this kind of comical collective, behavior to a degree, right? Oh, I got the itis because I ate too much turkey, and but it's really pathology at the end of the day. And we need to start correcting our behavior around holidays.
That is so true.
That's so hard to correct because it's culture. Because culture again, the culture is the root word of the word culture is to cultivate, right? So what are we cultivating? Are we cultivating, maladaptive behaviors and bad eating habits? Are we going to cultivate things to enliven us and make us healthier, right? I think, especially in, our community, the culture is not very life-giving at the moment. And
Yes,
that's from a
deaf
health,
culture.
that's from an entertainment standpoint, educational standpoint. Nothing is really life-giving, in my opinion. So we're here to tap into life.
Say that again.
The goal is to tap into life.
That is so true, brother.
Life culture, life-giving culture.
This is the way we've been programmed, though, to think like that, because the big pharmaceutical corporations, like the bill you say, that cognitive programming, as they're thinking, like in the deaf culture, instead of learning how to live, we really programming ourselves to die. Just like you mentioned, the brother at 30
Mm-hmm.
having kidney problems.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing they do is put you on dialysis. But if you really had the right understanding, you really don't have to go on dialysis, because what my understanding is, a lot of times the kidneys become so acidic
Mm-hmm.
through all this soda pop, the alcohol, the bad foods, and that's
Mm-hmm.
where your kidneys will start building up. They will actually start to hurt. So sometimes I drink the wrong type of coffee. I don't drink sodas or none of that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
What I would used to do though, I would go get this Chinese herb called Foti, Foti, and you could go to Whole Foods and get it. And I would take that, brother. I take 444, couple days, drink that water, brother, good to go.
Mm-hmm.
But it's certain herbal medicine, but people just don't learn. They don't trust herbal medicine or the fast and come up and stop using these foods that's killing them.
Yeah.
And the first thing the doc gonna do is put you on that doggone machine, brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people that's on dialysis don't really have to be on it, but they don't have an alternative. There's
Yeah.
another herb called seafood colon. Uh, it cleans out the colon, the kidneys, the spleen, and all that actually by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And you good to go.
Yep.
A lot of times you have weak blood. That's another herb I learned from Dr. Paul Gauls. He gone now. He was well known even before Dr. Sabi came on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And called comfrey, Comfrey. And it's a blood builder. It builds the blood up, but you can only take it for 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
And we used it actually. We had a child that was born Shafa, and they say had a heart condition. You just a baby. So we we didn't know at that time. We let him do the procedure and stuff like that. And he got worse. So we went to a herbalist called Mama Hands.
Mm-hmm.
And we brought her into the hospital though. Understand, to work on that baby in ICU. And she was bringing it back. You understand? She built his blood back up. She got his heart regulated
Mm-hmm.
and everything. She was bad, brother and sisters. And but we came in one day because I seen the black brother, the black doctor. He was a kidney specialist. He was always sliding through, but he never really checked on supply that because he had he had a heart condition.
Mm-hmm.
And we sit down, have a conference with the doctors, and they was amazed.
Mm.
You understand? What y'all doing? How y'all bringing him back?
Mm-hmm.
So we come in the next day, one day, they got him all tooled up and every damn thing. But what happened was this brother, he was an African doctor too. He went and put some tools in his kidney and all this old funny stuff. Because the kidney and lungs are connected.
Mm-hmm.
And he went back down. But I learned something from that experience. I ain't never seen a baby so strong though, brother. They actually fought and we just got here.
Mm.
You understand, holding on to life and stuff. But he went down, all this science went down and stuff, man.
Mm.
Well, I could have got a hold of that doctor though, brother. Cause
Mm.
I think they came in and did an experiment or something, brother. You
Mm.
understand? And so when he passed and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
we told him just take the tubes off and let him go on in.
Yeah.
But we wrapped that baby up, brother. Took him on out the hospital because he wasn't taking no parts off of him.
Mm-hmm.
Took him over to the funeral home, you know, understand, and buried him like a Muslim. You
Yeah.
understand? So these hospitals can be very, very detrimental. That's why you got to have somebody, if you go to the hospital, to have some type of medical knowledge.
Yeah.
You understand? You just can't go in there and don't have no sense. Sister Freedom, she was an ex-nurse, so she would go to the hospital. Another sister named Amina, not Amina, but I forgot her name. But she would go there and put hands on him, put their energy on him and stuff like that. We had everything working, brother. But
Absolutely.
we'd bring brother, my son Shabbat back until the doc came in and messed up the whole program, brother, because the hospital was a maze. But
Mm.
we let them have our son. I walked right up and walking right on out the hospital. You ain't taking no parts off of mine.
Mm.
And so that's why the thing that you speaking on tonight is so important, Doc, is for us to get into reclaiming our own health.
Medical sovereignty.
Yes, and our physiology is different from the Caucasian for one. Even our blood pressure rating is
Mm-hmm.
the Caucasian, but they are
You're right.
here based on their physiology.
Mm-hmm.
Say you got high blood pressure or no blood pressure, but they basing it off of their own people, stuff like that.
You hit
Even
the
the
head.
information they give us.
You hit the nail on the head, PopKeys. So just to piggyback off that comment, right? When a physician orders blood work, you look at your sodium, potassium, calcium. It's because something called your glomerular filtration rate. It's a kidney function marker, right?
Yes.
The longest time they had African American GFR and everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say if African Americans have a different physiology, but it turned out not to be true, right? And they've gone back to retract the African American GFR off of all blood work because there's no scientific basis for it, right? But physicians were making decisions off of this parameter.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to show you that, a lot of mismanagement is kind of embedded in how we do medicine, and that goes back to like the history of the country, history of relations, etc. Right? So it's deep.
Yeah, it's real deep.
But again, it goes back to the point of, you have more power than you think when it comes to your health, right? And that point you touched on going to the hospital as a patient is very scary. You go to the hospital because your life is in danger, right? We talk about life being the greatest asset. Well, the hospital is in the business of saving lives, right? And it does that.
That's what they say.
But here's the thing, right? The hospital, you go to the hospital to not die, which is different from promoting life, right? In my opinion, in my training, you go to the hospital for chest pain, and then make sure you don't have a heart attack. Don't make sure you don't have a pulmonary embolus. Make sure you're not having anything life-threatening, right? Once the hospital does that, and you don't need a cardiac cath or a stent, or need to be placed on blood thinners, they send you out the hospital with the quickness, right? Because if you're not ordering tests or whatever, you just, it's a hotel at that point, right? And they're not paying the for the stay, right? The hospital used to cost, right? So you get this ethical dilemma where it's, we're in the business of saving lives, but at the same time, it's a business. And in my experience,
you got to pay for it though. If you want to save yourself, if you don't have the right insurance, you ain't getting the right treatment anyway.
That's another barrier, right? So it's a multi-layered problem, wrapped up in a lot of, tense relations in history. But again, it goes back to the same thing we talked about before. You know, the healing's within ourselves. We got to tap into it, and it's not that difficult. It takes discipline, but what's discipline when you have sovereignty over your health, right?
Yes.
You reclaiming sovereignty over your health and your mind, like Jesus did in that story. He resisted the devil's control over the whole world.
Yes. That is so true, brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm gonna finish it up with this. I used to teach in the charter schools,
Mm-hmm.
and they had them all over Minneapolis, even to St. Paul. And but I had a teacher that I worked with. He was from Tanzania,
Mm-hmm.
and he teaches Swahili and stuff like that, and world history, religion and stuff. And he told me the story because he gave me the formula to the cure the cancer. But through my travels, I lost it.
Mm.
And because he said he had went to the doctor, and he said the doctor diagnosed him with having cancer. He said, "Thank you." He said, "All I needed was just to get the diagnosis."
Mm.
And he went and put together a formula. So he went back 3 or 4 months later, and the doc couldn't find no cancer in his body at all. And the doctor was astounded. And the doctor said, "What did you do?" You know, he told him what he used and stuff. But he said the doctor took that formula because he couldn't use it in America and went to Canada and started using it, started healing people. But one of the main things I do remember that he gave, well, he said you use pectin. Because he said pectin, what it would do with the cancer cells, was that it would surround the cells the way it can't spread and go through the body.
Mm-hmm.
He said you localize it. It was somebody, he had black seed oil and had some other herbs, but I can't remember those.
Mm-hmm.
But I always remember that pectin.
Mm-hmm.
And all that is the peeling of on the fruits and the oranges and the apples and stuff like that. You can go into the herb shop and buy the pectin.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to keep the cancer from spreading in your body, buy the pectin. Because it'll seal the cells where the cancer cells can't get out and move and spread through the body.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So it's a lot of healing formulas out here, but our people so hung up in this modern medicine that when you give them information, they don't even want to hear it. They don't pay no attention to it. But the first thing they're giving them is radiation and chemotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? And I don't know too many people that made it, maybe a handful. When they go through that, because all they're doing is destroy your immune system, the blood cells, and all of these type of things, and people be looking terrible. You understand? Some people just rather just go and leave here
Mm-hmm.
and to go through all of that type of stuff. But there are cures out here for every illness, for every problem. There's a solution, is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
You understand? And like you said, we got to take our health into our own hands now and quit depending on these people that really hate our guts. And our physiology is different. And all they doing is being trained to give you a pill. In most cases, there ain't too many people being cured. And if they do have the cure, they gonna hold it back because you don't have the medical insurance to pay for it. Don't you know if you don't have insurance today and you need an operation, if you can't pay for it, you got to send back home to die.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of society do we have, brother?
Mm-hmm.
It's being sworn to save life, but if you can't pay for it,
Exactly.
you dig? Dick Cheney lived about 50 years longer because he had the money to keep getting them heart. What you call it? If they put in his heart and all that old type of stuff, man. So, you right on point. And that's why I wanted to bring you to the people tonight because I did a subject last week talking about the foods and our health.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So I said, well, this is tied right in.
Absolutely.
You understand? Eating the proper foods. And I want to hear from the professional.
Eating the wrong foods is the leading cause of death and disease in the Western world. Point blank, period. It's a big statement, but when you peel back the layers on what's causing people's problem, that's the common denominator, right?
Yes, sir.
Western medicine does, again, I'm not here to demonize medicine or be the
I
whistle,
know you're not.
right?
You got to tell the truth.
My job is to integrate the two, right?
Yeah.
To take aspects of one discipline and apply it to the other one, right?
Right.
When medicine was practiced in the 1800s, it's an interesting kind of dynamic, right? Because I was trained in the allopathic sense, but now you have natural doctors, osteopathic doctors, right? Back in the 1800s, it was much more like training from martial arts, right? So you go to dojo, learn this technique, go to the next dojo, learn this technique, right? That's how medicine was back in the 1800s, right? So the doctor would be like, hey, what is the naturopathic doctor doing? Let me take that and apply it to what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
So the approach I'm taking with natural order health is I can be a multidisciplinary doctor. That's my goal, right? I want to take the value of everything and make it interdependent and greater than the isolated pieces, right? Currently, medicine does two things well. It is health promoting, or medicine has two goals. Let me start over. Medicine has two goals: health promoting and pain relief. Right? Yeah. It achieves these goals, but with high risk, little reward outcomes. Right? For example, you have a heart attack. You get a stent in your heart valve or in your heart.
Yes.
Right? That's a high risk procedure. Like the gentleman who had the triple bypass and ate a cheeseburger, right? That's a high risk procedure. And then on top of that, he's got to be on blood thinners, right?
Right.
First medication. There's more to that management than just getting the stent and it's done, right? As opposed to, okay, what do you eat? How many cheeseburgers are you eating?
Right.
Right. Let's start there, right? But these conditions, it's micropathology before it becomes macropathology.
Yes.
We can detect it, right? So going back to the heart, because that's something people can relate to. You get chest pain and you get an EKG and you see, ST segment elevations, all the key signs on EKG for heart attack, right? But there's micro disease that medical technology isn't equipped yet to detect that's going on right now that we just aren't aware of, right? But that's the beauty in the human body, because we're always a moment away. We're always a moment away from a life-threatening event. Think about that, PopKeys. Always a moment away from a life-threatening event. But the amazing thing about the human body is it thwarts every event to harm your life at every second, even when you're asleep. That's the power of the human body, right? Last week, 2 weeks ago, a good friend of mine, brother in his 70s, he's a lawyer, had a stroke. Had a stroke. Devastating. He has an aphasia, broken aphasia, meaning the part of the brain that lost blood supply that controls speech.
Yes.
Function, and we don't know if it's coming back or not. And it happened at a moment's notice. Then they found blood clots in his leg, and he's got atrial fibrillation, which is probably what caused a stroke to begin with.
Yes.
At a moment's notice, you have a life-threatening event, right? And everything stops, because once you go in the hospital, PopKeys, nothing is as important as getting healthy. So when we're healthy, the focus should be, how can I be healthier? Not when you get sick.
Yes.
But if you are sick, natural order health is the way to come off medication and learn how to live a healthy lifestyle, free of medication, free of procedures, and achieve medical sovereignty.
As you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that if you learn how to fast, you can cure yourself. If you fast properly and practice on really how to eat, to live, and fast, and that you'll never get sick.
Never.
You understand? But
Never.
like you say, it is the food that we eat, and we overeating, overindulging. We putting all these poison in our system, unnatural foods, and then your mind. You also say that you got to have the right thoughts as well.
Absolutely.
You understand? You say you can do all of that, but if your mind ain't right, your thoughts ain't right on the positive level, on a high frequency, then it's all for naught. You know, we are the type of beings that we can regenerate ourselves. You understand? We have that ability to regenerate ourselves.
Yep.
But we never been educated in that area, so we don't have the faith of a mustard seed that we can do it. We run to the doctor. Hey, your baby get a fever. First thing y'all do want to take them to the doctor. You understand? And the study come out about the Tylenol, the children Tylenol that they're giving. You know, I see my grandparents, they didn't never, and my mother and the baby had a little fever, they would just take them and give them a little warm bath and stuff like that to break that fever and wrap them up with a light blanket, man. Give them a little water, something, they good to go. You understand? Maybe take our children and drop them when they get them started on pills. Then when they're born, they want to start giving them these shots. What you need a shot for? You understand? None of my children got that crap called. We never let them, they were never allowed to give us our children that shot when they first born. And then once you start taking them back to the doc for the checkup, then they want to start giving you these series of shots. But none of my children was allowed to have that. You understand what I'm saying? And they held hell at this time. You know what I'm saying? The hell, man, I have come to the house sometimes, you know, try to keep this paperwork right. And they be asking, what kind of, go get your medication. I don't have no medication. You need? I don't take medication at all. I don't have no medication. You know, I don't have no medicine cabinet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I ain't been into see the doc. I can't remember, brother.
That's a blessing.
I don't get sick like that because I practice how to eat to live.
Yep.
You dig what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I had a cold in 2-3 years, to be honest about it. Because I studied it, because I used to get a cold, I say around every October, November. But I learned that's when your vitamin C in your body drop. You understand? You're more susceptible to catching cold. So I fixed that problem. So I'm good. When they even had the COVID first hit, even before it hit, and I was in Hayward, California, I'm sitting in my car and I got sick all of a sudden. Man, what the hell going on? So I had to drag myself in the house upstairs, but I had all my herbs. You understand? So I started taking all my herbs, elderberry, dandelion. I had all my herbs that I needed. I medicated myself on back. About 2-3 days, I'm good to go. And then the next month, I heard they had this virus going around. I said, well, hell, I got hit by something. Maybe that's what it was. But then after that, I wasn't running around there no mask. The only reason I put the mask on so I go into the business and stuff like that.
Right.
Good to go. So you got to practice how to eat to live. You got to learn your body, pay attention to it, and try your damnedest to stay out these hospitals, brother.
Yep.
It's just that's it. And doctor, I'm gonna let you wrap it up. Cause it's been an honor and a pleasure for you coming on. We be sure to bring you back. You just let me know when you want to come back.
Okay.
And it's very informational to our audience, for the people to come in, because we need proper knowledge now.
Absolutely.
We start to wake up. Our people are starting to wake up now. I see it all across America. We starting to come into our own. All we got to do is get the right vibration, keep our health. You understand? Our mind's gonna open up into the universe. We gonna tap in. We gonna take over.
That's right.
It's our time now, and we gonna unite. Because the most, what everybody fear is the black man, woman, and child coming together in unity. And we come together with all the other brothers and sisters across the planet, whether you want to call yourself African or whatever. Actually, they gave our people that name to divide us, but we all one.
Mm-hmm.
And sooner and the better that we realize, the better we'll be off, and we can bring in a righteous kingdom, of righteous people that's standing on truth, on freedom, justice, equality, peace, love, and happiness, and bring that love back into the humanity, like you say. You went out the country, man, and felt all that peace and love and happiness and
Yep.
that humanity. That's what we need worldwide now.
Amen.
But we sit in the belly of the beast, we get all this environment, this negative energy and stuff, and we look at one another, not as a brother and sister, we look at one another as a damn enemy. You understand? You can barely speak to a brother or another sister or something like that, you know. But I like speaking to my people. Sometimes I see them over there looking hard at a brother. I had to start pressing on. Assalamu alaikum, brother. How you doing today? I just bust all that up.
Yeah, exactly.
So go and close it out, brother.
I'll leave on this. The greatest threat Western medicine poses to the population is not, being addicted to medication or adverse outcomes from a procedure or medication. It's psychological, and it's the mindset of being in awe of modern medicine and believing that it can solve all of our problems and it's omniscient. That's the single greatest threat medicine poses to Western, our community, essentially, right? And it robs us, in believing Western medicine is omniscient, it robs us of what we've been talking about this whole time, is that the healing you've been looking for is all inside of you already.
Sound went out a little bit. You hear me now, brother?
I can hear you.
All right. You wrapped it up?
I did. I'll say it one more time.
Okay, say it one more time, brother.
The single greatest threat medicine poses to our community is not being addicted to drugs or adverse outcome from a procedure. It's the psychological dependence and the belief that modern medicine can solve all of our problems.
There you go.
It is omniscient, because it is not. Medicine has limitations, and there's inherent risk with taking drugs and going for procedures to correct, a blocked artery. Although life-saving and necessary, there is many steps before needing that you can intervene and prevent it. And that's what me and PopKeys are advocating right now. And that's what drives me in developing natural order health into a community support system to help people achieve medical and health sovereignty and educate them.
So thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
For coming on tonight and enlightening the audience. And we'd love to have you back. You understand? And
thank you.
And give the greetings to your family. I know you just got married, and
yes, sir.
That's a blessing. You got one foot in heaven now, brother.
Yes, right.
You see the other night, when you say you get a good woman, a good wife, you got one foot in heaven. Mm-hmm. You understand? So all praise due to Allah. And thank you. We go. When you get ready, just hit me up.
I sure will.
I got them carrot pies jumping off too, brother.
Let's go. Shout out to the pies.
Yeah, I make them pies, audience, and carrot pies, bean pies, banana nut squash pies, the blueberry cream cheese pies and stuff. Only problem I just don't ship them because I don't know. They said they got it where you can box them up there, they get to you in one piece, but I usually just do a local and stuff like that.
Don't get you one. You got to get you two. They're that good.
Yes, sir. So thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
Good night.
Peace. And
God bless.
I'm actively working on workarounds with the whole Airbnb proposal. So once I have some updates and some developments, I'll be in touch with updates and
All right.
take it from there.
All right. Likewise. Assalamu alaikum. All right, people. I pray that you all enjoyed this conversation tonight. I tried to bring you something that you can feed on, you can take back and resonate and think on, and so we can grow. It's our time now to move forward on this planet, get out from under this unnatural state of living. We're being robbed day and night. All they want to do is make us worker bees. Prices going up, nothing going down. Bad foods. They talk about the people get a couple of EBT cards or get some Section 8. But they never talk about all the handouts they giving to the rich. Elon Musk wouldn't be no damn near trillionaire if he wasn't feeding off the government. Look at all when they had them, when Barack Obama came in and saved America, when they was talking about the banks were too big to fail, but who bailed them out? You understand? They need less, we need more. We footing the bill on everything. We died. We done did 400 years of free labor. I ain't got no problem with our people getting that little stuff. Shit, we should be getting more. Trump said he was going to give us at least 2,000 because he done messed up. What did the Senate do? Talking about we can't afford it. Well, hell, y'all able to send money to Israel to them murders and them killers over there. You sending money over there to Ukraine, to them Nazis. You want to take Venezuela's oil. You want to go in Nigeria. You went over there and bombed the Iranians. You murdered the Iraqis. You're all over the planet spending money. But when it comes to the American people, the American public, y'all ain't got the money. That's why I say it's takeover time. You understand? I say to the brothers I know was at your Black Muslim bakery and at the temple, y'all get back on your path. Y'all done became part of this world. I see you taking pictures with your family and all this old type of stuff. But what happened to the fight in you? What happened to the truth that you're supposed to be standing on? Going after your people. All y'all doing is looking at the video talking about the Cowboys. Man, what done happened to you? Some of y'all had some powerful, powerful fathers. Y'all done laid down and went to sleep. I'm calling you out. You understand? All men's meeting, make something productive come up out of it. You understand? It's our time to take over. Ain't no damn mystery God. You the gods. Step up. Let's take over. I'm the only word man on the planet I know. Maybe Ibrahim Torre, maybe. They're using these words. It's takeover time. We got to separate and go for our independence now. Because they definitely separating. They turning this country into a monster. They got the Nazi ICE patrol running around there snatching up people. They got them in Minnesota. I talked to my nephew. I'm gonna wrap this up. He said, really, a lot of Somalians, the best thing happened for them, to them, is to be shipped back to their country. Because they out here drugged out. They robbing and stealing and pimping and drinking and on drugs and fentanyl and on that meth. He said they murdering their own kind, and they said they're doing everything. He said they done came over here and got captured by the beast. They came in as Muslims. Now they done turned them into Somali niggas. And on top of that, they came over here with an attitude talking about black people that we don't even know our own fathers because they had one night stand, so they don't know their daddies. They say, well, Omar Ehan, whatever her name is, she came over here with a black husband, ended up with a white man. You understand? And they were sitting up openly talking about how they're going to take the seat, congressional seat, from the black Americans, but now they asking for our help. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody want to be against us, but we still rocking steady. We still moving on. The 1965 Civil Rights Act was because of the black people that got out there and brought about that change. Well, y'all sitting over there in Africa, in most cases, and let the white man come and take your whole country, take your wealth, and the whole 9 yards. You dig what I'm saying? You got nerve to come over and have an attitude at us? But a lot of y'all need to be shipped back so you can get back on the square. Because you done got swept up in the belly of the beast. You dig what I'm saying? It's take over black people. So I appreciate you coming in. Y'all can hit that cash out. I got an economic program we'll break off to you next week, Wednesday, whatever day I come back on. You understand on how we can move forward and bring about a change. It's about change. That's the key. I got my son 19 kids over there in Africa breaking ground right now, striving to open up doors where we can bring in resources. You understand? The further our means. Because the Muhammad clan, we reach out to our people. You understand? This is what we're here for. Each one teach one, but we reaching to bring knowledge that our people can use so we can make a change together. It's takeover time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I say Muhammad. I say Muhammad. I say Muhammad got the devil on the run. That's right. Run, devil, run. Up, 2, 3, 4. The devil got to go. Chopped off another head tonight. Get this gold water, black folks. Go support. I see one sister, she said she had got it. She waiting on the bottom. But I think something done got shipped out to you, sister. You should be getting it soon. So thank you, thank you, thank you, black folks. You understand? The best of the best is sitting right here in America. I make no qualms about it. We're going to take our planet back. We're going to move to the top and bring in a righteous kingdom. The end of the white man in America, he finished. He ain't going to tell you that because he can't. But he through. And thank you, Mr. Trump. They call you Orange Man. Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum. Be safe out here. Stay dangerous, brothers.